Hello. Today we're going to continue our work with quadrilaterals. We're going to be taking a look at parallelograms, and I want you to take a look at this diagram one more time. Yesterday, we were learning that all trapezoids are quadrilaterals. Trapezoids are unique quadrilaterals in that they have at least one pair of parallel sides. Today, we're going to be focusing on parallelograms. Now, parallelograms are nestled inside quadrilaterals and trapezoids, which tell us that parallelograms are special trapezoids. So what's the difference between a parallelogram and a trapezoid? A parallelogram has to have two pair of parallel sides. So notice this side is parallel to this side, and this side is parallel to that side. So that makes it a little bit more special than a trapezoid. Today you're going to be opening up to problem set lesson 17, and that's on page 101 in your Eureka book, page 101. Like yesterday, you're going to be drawing some quadrilaterals with some unique and specific characteristics. So it says here, draw a parallelogram. So remember, a parallelogram is a four-sided shape with two pair of parallel sides. This parallelogram has to have no right angles, no perfect corners. So if I draw a side here and a side here, I'm going to create some acute and obtuse angles. And I apologize that my lines are not straight. Hopefully you can be using a ruler or the side of a book to make straighter lines. My lines are not straight. I don't have a line tool with this program. So if we look here, this side is parallel to this side. And then we have these two sides that are parallel. So we have our two pair of parallel sides, and we can see that none of these angles are right angles. We have an acute angle here, an acute angle here, obtuse and obtuse. I'll just remind you, acute angles are angles that are less than 90 degrees, so they're smaller than a right angle. And those obtuse angles, those are the big ones. They open up beyond 90 degrees, so they're larger than a right angle. Okay, let's move on to B. B says make a parallelogram with at least two right angles. So I need a parallel, getting a little bit better at straight lines. We use a different pen color. So here we have two right angles. Well, if I make this side come out in that direction, this is no longer going to be a parallelogram, because remember, a parallelogram has to have two pair of parallel sides. So these two are not parallel. In order to make this side parallel, I have to come down straight here. So this is a parallelogram, parallel side, parallel side. These two sides are parallel. But the only way I can make a parallelogram with two right angles is actually to make a parallelogram with four right angles. What I'm going to ask you to do is think about and label what is another name for this shape that we just drew here. We have four sides, two pair of parallel sides. So that makes it a parallelogram, but it's also pretty unique in that it has four right angles. See if you can think about and write down what shape we can call that. Okay, now we have equal sides with no right angles. Equal sides with no right angles. So if I don't want right angles, I kind of have to make my shape look a little bit like this. But I have to make my sides equal. Make this a little longer. And I don't want right angles. Okay, so parallelogram two parallel sides, two parallel sides, and no right angle. There's a special name for this. Starts with an R. Are you remembering? This is actually a rhombus. So a rhombus is a special parallelogram in that it has equal sides, but it does not need to have right angles. Let's go back to B. Anybody remember what B is? B, the shape we drew here, is a rectangle. A rectangle is a parallelogram with right angles. There it is. Okay, now D says all sides are equal with at least two right angles. And if you're thinking square, you're right on it. So let's take a look at a square and see why this fits. A square is a parallelogram because it has two parallel sides. It's got four right angles. We can't draw two right angles here only because remember we tried that before and our opposite sides would not be parallel. So we have four right angles, and what makes this a square is that it's got four right angles and it has equal sides. So if we look and compare, a square and a rhombus are similar in that they both have equal sides, but what makes a square is it has its right angles. So remember, a square, and if we go back to this, I don't know if I can go back to that. Let's see. If we go back here, here's our parallelograms. We drew a square, a rhombus, and a rectangle. They all share attributes of parallelograms, but they're kind of unique and special. Okay, you will have an exit ticket to complete after this lesson, and I wish you good luck with that.